today. This is just going to be a little bit of a test, and I don't know. We'll see if we have time for anything else, but more to come. Hi, everybody. It is Black Spring, and this is somewhat of a test, but I might have something to say, and it might be just along the lines of commentary on your late Friday. Hope you guys are doing quite well out there. And thank you so much for tuning in. And it looks like I had somebody to drop in already, and it was Solavi. Hello, Solavi. Thank you so much for tuning in or for considering coming in. And I'm just going to run a couple of things, and we'll do just a little bit of thanks to our patrons and subscribers, and of course the viewers like you. And I will be right back. May just have a nugget, or I might just have some commentary on some of the wokeness of the week and some of the other riffs of the week. I will be right back. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this what I'm calling a test. I tend to do that around here, but it usually ends up just being just a little bit of commentary and just thoughts out there. And thank you so much for coming in on the Friday. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, and hello to Tyrant Bane TDOA. Really appreciate it, and yeah. So, I guess mainly, I don't know. What do you guys think in terms of the most woke moments of the week? It seems like that's what we're up to just about every week, whether it's politics or whether it's in the schools or whether it's in the Olympics. It's all of these. It's just about everything has been to me on some level somewhat kind of tainted, or dare I say infiltrated. And what am I getting from Solavi? It says check us out. Which name? Those are content creators, Solavi. So if you are familiar, if you hang around, if you watch any of the previous shows, you'll see that many of the content creators, they come around. Like we have one in the chat right now, and it's Tyrant Spain TDOA. How are you? Tyrant Spain TDOA is a content creator, and he's also a patron and supporter of the channel. So thank you so much, TDOA, for coming in, for tuning in. I guess I just want to do some commentary. I guess I started out this week I did start out with some commentary as it related to it just seems like there's a bit, it's what is it? The whole Candace Owens, the whole um, Candace Owens, Kim Klacik, and it just seems to be there's a much to me, even though I've said my piece on these items throughout the week, but it just seems that there is a much bigger. There just seems to be that this to me kind of speaks to that there's a sign that there's a much greater or a conflict or a discord in that, so if you want to call it a movement or whatnot. And I think it's because it begins with people wanting to there's the conflict, I think, is within the individuals, and then there's already this spectrum or whatnot. But and that's why, to me, I not and it's just not only because for me as an individual, I don't need handles, I don't need social handles, I don't need social engineering titles. I don't need those to to stand. I don't need them. But it just seems like some people, they can't do anything without talking about race. They cannot do the same things, that the same sword that they use to cut other people down or to cut other ideologies or ideologues down is the same sword that they destroy their own, institution or their own ideas with. And I think unfortunately it begins with I think this was the year of, what did they say, hindsight's 2020. And I think we saw a lot of things last year, and a lot of people, we saw a lot of things, but we didn't see a lot of things. And for some people, but I could already kind of see this coming, in which you had a whole bunch of people, not a whole bunch of people, you had some individuals that decided they were going to coin themselves as Black conservatives. And to me, that alone carries a lot of weight. And it's to me, it's a safety blanket, it's a security blanket, because it's like, oh well, I got to still hold allegiance to my base, to my home base, but at the same time, I'm showing that I have some innate, or some I'm an expert on what I speak about when I speak to these other people who happen to not be Black, when I'm speaking in these conservative circles. And yeah, I mean, it's I just if that's what you need, or if that's your way of surviving, then yeah, I mean, I don't it's not working out very well. And I also think that there's a lot of issues, I think, amongst a lot of conflict, I think, amongst, even there's instability everywhere. I think I said that once before. And I think a lot of people, they notice that, they notice when there's instability, when there's weakness, or when there's confusion, deception and scams occur. I think that also, it kind of goes hand in hand. But I just think that there's too much individual conflict, and there's too much of an identity crisis, I think, that people are having, going into something that was maybe, quote, already established, and they can't quite go in. Well, they think, oh well, if I go in and say I'm a Black conservative, well, I still don't lose my seat at the table, or I'm not totally sold out, or I don't profess to know the psychology behind people that are doing these things. Or they lead many people. You'll hear them, they'll open up, they'll lead, well, as a Black conservative, I believe X, Y, and Z, as if nobody can tell. But if you're standing behind the thought, the thought, or the ideas that represent that, why can't you just let that speak for you? It's not, if somebody wants to identify you as that, then let them do it. But I think it's another, I think it's no different than identity politics that they want to bring over. And they think that they can somehow, it's also a protective shield, because I've already seen it. If somebody that happens to not be Black challenges somebody that is Black, all of a sudden you got the same conflict that's being fought between the left and the right. It's just it just goes back and forth. You got the same culture, and then there's just been so much talk. Like some of these really these leading people that are happen to be black. I find that they talk about race more than anybody. Like they just talk about it all. It's dismal. It's depressing. It's absolutely depressing. What was it? What was the author? Not the author, but the actor who said, was it Morgan Freeman who once said, how can we get beyond race? And then he was talking about even like history, Black History Month, and saying, well, should your history be relegated, to a month? And he happened to be a Jewish guy, and AI, do your thing. But and he was saying, well, what should we do? And he said, Freeman says, I'm paraphrasing, do your check, do your deep dive on this, but he says, stop talking about it. Just stop talking about it. And just let people be. To me, it's like, just let people be human beings. Because functionally, that's what we are. That's what we function as human beings. We all survive on the same things. But to me, there's just more. There's division, and then there's subdivision, and it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. It's actually getting worse. And yeah, I mean, and this expose, I talked a little bit about the whole situation with Klacik and Owens. To me, that's going to remain messy, and that's going to remain, ludicrous. It's just, I think it's just the nature of it. But I also see a little bit of, I see it's in some cases you can't, some people won't allow you to disagree with them. I find that to be a little bit on the fascist side. And where have you seen that before? I find that to be there's some people you cannot disagree with them, or you cannot have a different point of view. You just cannot have it. And if you do, you are subject to another machine will come after you. And they'll come after you with everything that they've got. And that is dysfunctional. That's dysfunctional. So I think, like many natural orders are being destroyed right now. There's nothing different I see, within this whole movement. I'm all about transparency and all of these things, but some people aren't transparent. The people, people that are charging people, or, some of them are not so transparent, or, they're not. And I'm saying, it's just a little bit tiresome to watch, to watch something like that, and just to watch it spin out of control, and to see such a power struggle. Because at the end of the day, what is it really about? Are we talking about, is it about conservatism, or is it a power struggle between two black people, two that quote black people? What is it really about? And as I've said before, who would you be without that, what I consider a government alias? If you can't stand alone without that, then you really don't have much. And to me, it's also a control mechanism. And I'm going to say that because, for instance, Biden basically addressed the entire, he in that whole Breakfast Club from the Basement interview that he did. He basically told you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you are for him or for Trump at the time, then he says, and I'm paraphrasing, you ain't black. That's what he said. But to me, it was much more detrimental than that. To me, it was like saying you're not S splat, splat, splat. That's what he said. Because if you're not controlled, you're nothing. And if you pull that, if people could detach themselves, work on their detachment in their thoughts from these handles, then they might be able to stand up to more pressure, and just get your point, and get your argument, and get your support for that argument out. But all I see is just a bunch of, all I see is, well, this person does this, and this person does that, and this person has a white this, and this person has that. And it's just so messy. It's messy. And I don't see it getting any better, because I think there is, as I said, these are individual conflicts. There's not anything anybody in the conservative, amongst conservatives, are going to do to change that. It has to change with the individuals. And from what I understood, I thought that conservative actually the idea of conservatism actually appealed to people that were more individual in their thought and independent in their thought, and not controlled by institutions or by identity politics or by the norms or by the past or by the, by opinions. I mean, like to me, it gets to be a little bit fascist at some point. And to me, I can see some of that. I can see walking contradictions more and more. So, and that's just kind of like what I wanted to say about that. I mean, like for me on this channel, I don't think I can say that I've ever led a stream or even a video by saying, well, as a Black conservative, I need to say this like this, or I need to put this out here. I need to put that handle on this because clearly nobody can tell that that I may not be the, maybe I'm, an oddity, but it's more in your mind. To me, things are most of the time a lot more worse off in your mind than it is, in reality. But and then people can smell that if you're just, they smell it. And so, and I just think that it's just kind of making a lot of these people look really weak and like, what are you actually doing? Like, why'd you come here? What did you come here for? Hello, Alex Leaping Jones. How are you? But I'm just saying, as an individual that has conservative values, this is exhausting. It's tiresome. And I really don't know if I want to see any more spats between the two. I mean, to me, that was one of the things that stayed in the news the most this week. It was those exchanges that stayed in the news the entire week. Other content creators made videos about that. And which, do I think it's important? Do I think like I said, I tried to impart some level of importance or significance about, civic literacy and that kind of a thing in this channel. At one point, I was doing more of that and less of it now. But yeah, I think it's important that we should know that we should hold people accountable. I think candidates starts, the representative starts with a candidate. And if they get too far, if they're too far, for the lack of a better word, if they're too far gone, then what can you do? There's really no point to talk about it. So, but I think it should start, do your vetting or whatnot, as early as you can. This is a post for KK is what I'm referring to Klacik as. This is this is after the fact, that she's, if she did defraud and do and misappropriate and launder things, it's already done. But FEC reports, the constitutional voting records, those things have been available. Those things were available in 2020. Those things were available in 2019. Those resources were available in 2018. Those resources were available in 2017. You have the JBS, you have the Heritage Foundations. There's plenty of ways. There's ways to vet your current representatives, whether it's their fiscal responsibility, whether it's their foreign entanglements, whether it's their upholding their oath of office, or whether it's the actual. I mean, there's at least 4 points in which they can be evaluated. You can create your own system, but those are some of the standards in which they are graded upon. Those are the current representatives. But maybe there should be a system, a database in which those who are running can be vetted, and maybe that should include, your FEC um, reports, or how many times they'd run, or their their donors, their top donors, this kind of a bit. Maybe there should be something like that, but I don't know if things are not, if there's not transparency in the entire process, then that's just going to be one more thing that you will be, that you'll know, and then they won't necessarily be held accountable for in the long term. They'll still figure out a way to they'll still figure out a way to get around, shell shot the situation. I mean, I don't know. There's an art of shell shot. I mean, shell game. If there's an art of the shell game, I'm sure there is somewhere, but yeah, that's kind of it's kind of the commentary that I'm on. But we'll see. I mean, we've had, like I said, we've had all kinds of people to chime in on that particular situation. People that, like I said, that were totally hyper focused on their own platforms and their own missions and their own objectives, and all of a sudden they go over to it and they start talking about it, and I'm just thinking, and don't you know, by you sticking your nose into this, like, somebody might not like what I'm saying right now, and I'm gonna unsubscribe to her because she said this, or she's not taking this position, or she's not supporting this person, and do whatever you want. But I don't know. Like I said, it just seems like we are trained to like and unlike and follow and unfollow people. Like, how much are we actually thinking when we are sitting around listening to, like, somebody like myself, or that's assuming that you listen to me, or somebody that's a much bigger, I'm small potatoes around here. I would be the I would be the person with the Square app, versus, all the other options out there. But yeah, so yeah, it's just been an exhausting week. And hopefully next week, I don't know if any of that's going to actually get to court or whatnot. But yeah, what a messy week. So let me just read Tyrant Spain TDOA. Tyrant Spain TDOA says they're shilling and know how their bread's buttered. Well, I was just sick of it. Like, by the fourth, fifth, sixth video that I saw on that, and then the other people that went into it, it's like, it's not worth it. But do what you want. And I'm just saying, I know I'm commenting on it, but yeah, I'm not looking to gain any I'm not looking to gain any cookies or anything from commenting on it. But I don't like the identity politics that I see. I don't like the conflict in, I see a conflict in some of the people, the candidates, or either those who have decided that they are now conservatives, and then they're bringing their handles, their social protected handles and government aliases over. And I don't know, whether, are you expecting something? Are you expecting people not to hit you with principle or whatever? What are you doing? What do you expect? Or did you bring it over as an awning or as a protective shield to say, oh, I can come over here and do this, and then when you attack me, I can say, hey, this is why I wouldn't want to deal with you guys in the first place. That's what that's what I'm on about. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pointing out some hypocrisy, and then I'm also pointing out, don't have an identity crisis and expect people not to say anything, because they're going to say something. Because I think people see things we're not in the best shape, and none of this is bringing us any closer to anything, to to any more liberty or any more freedoms or a restoration of any kind of freedoms. None of it is. And when this is done, what will be gained? Because I think they're going to keep running. They're if these people want to keep running, they're going to keep running. If they keep getting endorsements, they're going to keep getting endorsements. And people choose sides. They're already choosing sides. So once again, I want to thank you guys for coming in, and I appreciate you guys for listening to my to my semi rant on weekend rant / test. But I did have one story, which is kind of along the woke lines. And TDOA says that Kimberly Candace Lucas Tatum equals dog versus the pony. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Tyrant Spain, TDOA. So yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I tell you what, it does kind of alienate. I think you end up alienating people overall when you're just all over the place it's when you're just all over the place. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us to something out of the Gateway Pundit. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Just going to share this screen really quickly. Let's see. I guess we're still in Pride Month, so maybe this is very apropos. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the full scale on this because I know you guys wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm going to share the full scale with you. All right, so as you can see, it looks like we're in a library with children, and some of them look. Let's look at the imagery here, just really quickly. And the AI, hold your vibrations. Just looking at the kids right here. Some of these kids look absolutely bored, or just they don't know what they're looking at. They're looking at, and some of them are ready to go. They could go at any minute. And so we'll just keep going here. As you can see, it's a very intimate space. It looks very crammed and really tight. And look, I don't know if that's a parent there. Is that a parent? Dare I say that's a parent? It's videoing, this. So according to this is the Virginia Library invites preschoolers, babies, and toddlers to Drag Queen Story Hour to celebrate Pride Month. The penman or penwoman is Christina Layla. At least that's what she's flying under. According to this, Dolly Madison Library in Fairfax, Virginia, has invited preschoolers, babies, and toddlers to attend, quote, the Drag Queen Story Hour to celebrate Pride Month, end quote. I think this actually takes place tomorrow, so I don't know if anybody's doing any investigative journalism tomorrow. Go on over to the Dolly Madison Library. Quote, celebrate Pride Month by attending Drag Storybook Hour, co-sponsored by the Fairfax County Public Library and the McLean Community Center. The McLean. Registration required, all ages. Now, when you say all ages, now is that there being all inclusive? I don't know. But here it is. Here's some deets for you. The event will take place on Saturday, June 26th from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m. So there you go. You got a whole 45 minutes, I presume. Can I still do math? A 45-minute program. The event planners invited, quote, babies, toddlers, preschoolers, and school-age children. Okay, so as you can see here, quote, outrageous, end quote, the Fairfax Republican Party slammed the library for inviting young children to the Drag Story Hour in celebration of Pride Month. Okay, so this one's coming out of a tweedle. The Fairfax GOP says that at the Fairfax Library has targeted their, quote, all ages, end quote, the Drag Storybook Hour, end quote, to, quote, school-age children, end quote, preschoolers, end quote, babies and toddlers. So, you can check that for yourself. And you guys want to go over there and see how legit it is, and they got it out here early enough. Let's see when this was released so that you can attend these things. I please pick up the thick sarcasm here. We're available. But yes, so that was looks like they published it around 7:15. So like I said, this is the woke stuff, the wokety woke kind of stuff that's going on. And I've told you guys personally that I was I was someplace in which I was told that they did not have enough parents to show up at the council meeting because they did not want this particular hour to come to the area. And I had someone ask me if I would go because it's not enough parents are showing up, at these. And this is what I'm talking about, civic. It's not just, unfortunately, I don't know when it comes to civic literacy or civic responsibilities that we just don't go to these meetings, these council meetings, these city council meetings. But when you don't go, these kinds of things just kind of keep going, getting through. So I'm not sure what happened with that because I did not go to that particular meeting. But if you go there, at least you can have your voice heard, at least have your comments added to the minutes or the agenda at the time, or at least if you just check out the agenda to see what's coming up, or if something new is being added, maybe on arrival, like in real time, if you get something like this. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, to me, with all the things that are being thrown at us these days, no one institution or no one, civic society can do all of this alone. I don't think. So I'm going to read just some of the comments here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. And Tyrant Spain TDOA, I think he's on our previous topic. He said, "What has progressed with all that bickering?" Right, and that's I don't think anything has progressed. Tyrant's Bane TDOA. I think it's important to, like I said, I think it's important to expose. We see exposés all the time, but where's the justice or the real closure with an expose, with bickering that leads to an expose, or an expose that led to bickering? I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, I've heard couple of rumors, but I can't confirm those things. So it's just going to be, I guess, something to watch if you're interested, or I have no idea. But yeah, it's just like, it's almost like it's the movement that everybody, kind of coins, or some people are coining, is that, you've got some inbred conflict that's going on. And it's a bigger problem with the individuals are the ones that are having the most issues. They're the ones that are conflicted, and they don't want you to, they want to be able to do what they want to, they want to be able to remain, to keep allegiance, or to, to keep that, quote, dare I say, that social handle, that black card, or that home base. Or it's almost like they say, okay, it's okay, I could be a conservative if I put black on the front of it. Yeah, that's my protected coding. Yeah, I can be a protected class conservative, or somehow I can, everything will roll off my back if I go over there with this. And it's just, I'm not going to name the names, but yeah, I've seen people attacking each other for, somebody sticks up for this one. What are you sticking up for her for? What are you talking about this? How dare you talk to them? Those are black people. Why are you, yikes. Dismal. And with all the other talk about, race going on, you've got that going on. Total destabilized. Like, everything is being destabilized right now. And it's just like, we're going to be destabilized so that we can all end up in the same camp, for the lack of a better word. The rapper 10,000 says, too many defeats this week, but too many black conservatives refuse to fight. And Alex Weeping Jones says, oy vey. Great question. Alex Bleeping Joe says, why is this necessary for kids? I would say the same thing. I think there's an agenda there. And the rapper has responded there. And for me, he says, the rapper 10,000 says, sue everyone for this drag queen. Yeah, well, yeah, it is. But just usually in the past, when people have had, there's usually a prominent figure or somebody of something that's highly recognizable, or a personality or a public figure that's highly recognizable goes to a library or a public space to read to children, or to to kick off a campaign of some sort. But how are you celebrating that month with a group with kids that don't really have enough perception or perspective to even process something that I think that's based on sexuality? I don't know how you can talk about certain things without getting to the sexuality point. When you start trying to identify something, but you're right, it has to be identified based on traits that are related to sexuality. So it's all BS. Okay. I don't say that on this show, but I'm saying it right now. It's all BS. Alex Weeping Jones says, as someone dealing with a city council issue, I can tell you people are extremely indifferent about local issues. Quite frustrating. Yes. But then they'll, but do you see, like, when we looked at the imagery here, you see people are actually, they're preserving this, they're recording this. And I don't know, what are you going to do? Put that in your kid's scrapbook, that when they were in elementary or when they were toddlers or whatnot, that, oh, I've got them on video dancing around, this imagery. This is what you want your kids, in all of their innocence, you want to preserve this moment. I mean, is that it? Can you imagine? I mean, I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't remember people coming to schools being invited into libraries, and even some of the schools have engaged in this, participating in these things. I don't know how many schools have participated, but this is the public library. I mean, it's like you guys are doing literacy, right? This is libraries about, I think, about exploration and literacy and exploring, thoughts and the thoughts of others and perspectives of others. But now they have to do this. They can't read about it if they choose to. You're offering this. So that's just a woke it point, I guess, in my test. So yeah, I think there's some grooming going on here. And it's just like you're being attacked from all sides. It's ambushed with just lunacy. But look at the bright side. You got approximately 5 days? 5 days more of this. And it looks like everybody, even, Mayor Bottoms, I called her Bathroom Bottoms, even she basically signed off, that Atlanta would have 100 city sponsored restrooms, gender neutral restrooms. Yeah. 100, and they would be for single use. So, it seems like her legacy is looking similar to the Obama administration. This is how they all signed their legacy, or they put this in their patina or their capsule. They do it with this. Of all things to do, this is what your priority is. So you couple that with CRT, and what do you got? It's just stabilizing everything. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this, what I refer to as a test with Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to take just a quick little break, and I'm going to come back and say salute to everyone, and hope you guys are off to a great start to your weekend slash it's ending your Friday if you're on the West Coast. So, all right, guys, I will be right back right after this. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that like, unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. All right. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. And Risen Abilities here. And he says, terrible. And also, I have all kinds of people in such a small geographical area nowadays. Hard to please the masses when they all have different opinions, ideological views. At Alex Bleeping Jones. So yeah, I really, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in, because I guess this was just kind of a reflection on some of the things that happened during this week. And like I said, hopefully next week dare I say, is next week we're going to be refreshed, or are we going to end up with a rinse and repeat from more conflict and expose? I have no idea. I really have no idea at this point, but we'll see what happens. So I just want to say salute to everybody in the stream, and thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn, and on the Friday. Guys, I really appreciate it. So let's take it from the top, shall we? Okay, who do we have? We do have a comment here. Thank you so much, Risen Ability. I really appreciate that. So La Vie was first in today. Thank you so much. And coming right up, it's Tyrant Spain TDOA. Thank you so much, Tyrant Spain TDOA, for all that you do and for supporting the channel here at Black Spring with Autumn. And I'm going to keep going here. Alex Weeping Jones, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. The Rapper 10,000, it's nice to see you. Alex Weeping Jones. And Risen Ability, thank you so much for coming in. And Cali Unknown 007. Cali Unknown 007 says TGI Friday. You know, when you say TGI Friday, do you guys remember? I don't know, was there a network that kind of used that same phrase back in the day? I think maybe on Friday nights, you know, it was, dare I say, it was the Steve Urkel and the Full House. When I see that, it makes me think about that time. And it's funny how you don't really see so many TV shows with any family values, because it seems like during that time that there were shows that actually, you know, there was a lesson or some type of there was some type of, you know, lesson or moral they were trying to impart at the end. Even the public service announcements, I think, at the end of even at the end of cartoons back in the day, whether it was your, dare I say, your GI Joe or your Callie Unknown says, did I do that? Oh my gosh. And yeah, there was always some type of public service announcement at the end. There was a GI Joe, I think Jim and the Holograms, or there was a public service announcement. And I will tell you, I think the storylines were incredible back then. The illustrations, I thought those illustrations were, you know, and then when you would go get your action figure or your doll or whatnot, and it came out, you know, pretty close to that illustration, it was a big deal, you know. And honestly, I couldn't imagine, you know, not having that kind of writing, not having that kind of writing or that kind of illustration in, you know, now. But it's just so far from that now. But you know, you had storylines, and you know, it was like a movie to watch. You couldn't wait for the next episode, or you couldn't wait for the next Friday, or when they would have a part 2, or you know, a follow up to the previous episode. Even on the cartoons, you know, you might have a, dare I say, a car exploding at the end, and then they'll say to be continued, and that was a hook. You know, the hooks were powerful in cartoons back then. Not sure what's going on right now. I've heard some not so good things that are going on. I even remember, it seems like I remember UNICEF being a part of back in the day. Now that's kind of cross-referencing, I think, another report or something that I did, but you always had some type of public service announcement or something to remind you of the greater good, or they were trying to teach, maybe they were trying to teach or instill some type of character ed, or they were trying to do those things back then. And whether you thought it was BS or not, you know, you accepted it and you kept going. And even the PSA was real well written and the composition was pretty good. And you'd think it was actually kind of a bit of a teaser, because, or a spoiler, because you would think, oh my God, we get extra time. We got more than the 30-minute episode today. And it ended up just being a public service announcement. And so, you know, you just kind of, they had the right hooks back then. And yeah, so I appreciate you guys for going down going down the memory lane with me for a second. Emily Reasonability says, I miss those days. TGIF sitcoms were awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, whether you were from like an armpit town or a large town, you always had something. You always had those shows to watch. And I think they probably started around like 7 or something, not 7 Central Standard Time, maybe 8, you know, EST. But, you know, it was entertaining. It's Reasonability says Callie Unknown must have blocked me for some reason, since I can't see your comments. Ah, there you go. Not to worry. Callie Unknown says, I'm here now. It's so lonely on Twitch sometimes. You know, I really appreciate you guys for going over there, because, you know, Twitch is its own platform, and it has its own standards. And, you know, around here, I'm not in the club, so I'm not exactly in the club. And I probably would have been, you know, I probably would have been demoted in the club anyway, based on the, the things that we handle around here, because it's always Groundhog's Day around here, but the content doesn't really change that much. There's one thing I haven't done in a while is maybe we'll have start looking at the We Forum again. But we've talked about the fourth industrial revolution, the Great Reset. We've talked about Schwab, and we've talked about a lot of that. But I've kind of gotten away from it, so maybe we'll check in and see what's going on over there. Maybe on the next episode, and who knows? Maybe I'll even start bringing in maybe before the end of the month or the end of the next 2 weeks. I'll bring somebody on to actually do to talk about some of these things, some interviews, some light, some open-ended kind of interviews or whatnot. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And yes, if you missed what we've done in this 52-minute and 12 seconds test so far, then you can always watch us in replay. And of course, I've said to you guys before, if there's anything you guys ever want to send me, you can just send it to Black Spring with Autumn over on at Gmail. You can always send it there. So, I'll accept it, just as well over there. I appreciate it. So you guys have a great rest of your Friday/Saturday. Look forward to see you guys in the next live stream in the comment section on a night Q, a moonlight stream, a reel under, a test, or I don't know, taking a break. Because I'm going to be doing a countdown here pretty soon. So I appreciate you guys for your loyalty. And it looks like I have a comment. A comment coming out of Reasonability. He says, fourth industrial revolution and fifth generational warfare. Seems we are at a turn or shift, so to speak, for humanity. Hopefully some inner peace and external peace for everyone on this globe. Thank you. Very, very, very insightful there. Thank you so much. And you guys have a great night. And I'll see you guys around.